The month of October has been very active this year for severe weather and is expected to continue to be that way all the way through into November. When and where these waves will be going through the United States will all be answered later on in the video. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Nate. I also go by Hockey Boy Nate. In this video, we're going to be, as I said, discussing the severe weather that's going to be moving on through the United States. We've already had a plethora of tornadic activity as well as large hail and damaging winds. And because we're expected to see more of that, it's all the more reason for me to get the information out. So if you guys are new to my channel, please be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, which is just hit that little bell button to stay up to date with all the content that I provide, keeping you guys up to date when this stuff actually happens. As well as hit the like button down below. That would be greatly appreciated. It helps me get this video out to more and more people on YouTube, essentially helping me spread information. So thank you for that. And share this with friends and family and on social media. I would also greatly appreciate it. Taking a look at the satellite imagery, same thing we do with every single video that I upload, except for what has happened in the past, but we don't talk about that. We talk about what's happening now, and what's happening now is there's a bit of severe weather that's happening over near the Carolinas over here, and the whole reason for that is because we have a bit of a boundary that's surging on through here, a bit of a cold front that's being stirred up because of this low pressure system that's up in Canada. What's happening is you have a lot of this counterclockwise spin in the atmosphere. You can see the general motion of the clouds over here. And what's happening is as these clouds continue to push on through to the east, from west to east, they tend to bring up a bit of moisture to form this bit of a line that surges on through, and that's the reason why you have showers and thunderstorms that push across and create more and more severe activity. So people in the Carolinas, even coastal Virginia, would not be surprised if you guys got some of that activity as well. Really need to watch out in that sense. We also have this other low pressure system that's starting to come off of the Pacific Northeast. And originally there was a bomb cyclone that was actually moving on through off near places like British Columbia and Alaska, and that's actually now moved onto Alaska. What a bomb cyclone is that's basically where a low pressure system strengthens more and more, and it basically gets more active with severe weather within that general vicinity. But because that's not really a huge threat to the mainland United States, more a threat towards places like Alaska and British Columbia, not a huge threat for people along the main continental United States, but areas up near Alaska like Juneau definitely need to watch out for some strong damaging wind gusts over there with that storm. But what's happening here with that is that too has also created a bit of a boundary right here. And this boundary is starting to kind of arc a little bit. You can see how it's kind of curling in this general characteristic. And usually what happens with this is that you have this developing low pressure system that forms on the end of that boundary. It would be somewhere right within that arc to where it could start to basically have this bit of a whirlpooling effect to where the wind then gets channeled around, starts to go into a bit of a counterclockwise spin in that notion, and then that low pressure system will eventually surge on through across the United States, but it'll continue to develop over time. So it's not going to be one of those things where it's a one and done situation. It most likely will begin to form into its maturity stages somewhere around the central United States, and we'll be watching for that as to how that will continue to form. Now, I did mention that there could be some severe weather over here near the coastal Carolinas areas, and that is evident here from the Storm Prediction Center. You can clearly see the 1 out of 5 in the severe weather scale indicated in the dark green, or the marginal risk. There's also a little area over here near Wichita, Kansas as well, so you guys could see some severe weather here for the day 1 convective outlook, which is today, the 22nd of October in 2021. If you guys ever see these light green risks here, that's just a general thunderstorm risk, not expected to be super severe. So just keep that in mind whenever you see that in the future. Now, if we take a look at the day 2 categorical outlook here, we have a yellow now. We have a 2 out of 5 on the severe weather scale over here near Kansas City, as well as Topeka, Kansas. So if you guys are over in that general vicinity, highly recommend watching out for some severe weather in that notion. Large hail is expected to be the case here, with a 15% chance of seeing 1-inch size hail or larger within a 25-mile radius put in that slight risk. But everywhere else in this brown risk, you have a 5% chance. Not a huge chance for wind. Wind is not expected to be the main contributor for tomorrow on the 23rd. and tornadoes is also a low chance with a 2%. But just because it is a low chance doesn't mean that there is a no chance for tornadoes. Still, if you live in areas like Wichita, like Salina, like Hutchinson, Emporia, Derby, highly recommend staying weather aware tomorrow because you do have a chance for some tornadoes. Now, if we do go over to the next day, this is Sunday, so big football day here for people across the board. Good news is severe weather isn't expected to impact areas with football, with Tennessee having the big game against Kansas City over there in Nashville, so not expected to be the case over there. And so Kansas City is going to be kind of out of the risk for the most part, but they still have a little bit of severe weather in that area, about a 2 out of 5 in the severe weather scale in that general vicinity, so watch out for that. But otherwise, major areas here that are in a 3 out of 5 in the severe weather scale. Look at this. Orange area right here is an enhanced risk, and this does include places like St. Louis, like Little Rock, like Springfield, Missouri, and the surrounding areas, Columbia, Fort Smith. All those areas over there could potentially see some severe weather on Sunday, potentially around the evening hours, maybe even into the overnight hours. So would not be surprised if you guys had your characteristics of major severe weather. There is a significant severe risk here, which means that you have a 10% chance or greater probability of seeing significant severe weather, such as 2-inch size hail, hurricane force winds, or a significant tornado. That is still a little bit up in the air to be determined as to what specifically it is going to be. It most likely will be the hurricane force winds in that regard, but we'll just have more information on that tomorrow as to what those significant risks could be. But still, there is a risk for some significant weather here in Missouri and into Arkansas. So St. Louis, Springfield, Columbia, Fayetteville, all the way to St. Charles, which is right around St. Louis, need to watch around for the severe weather. Be weather aware. That's the main thing that I always talk about. If you're weather aware, you guys tend to have plans, and then you guys tend to act accordingly whenever stuff does happen. On Monday, there is not expected to be severe weather as of right now. This could change. When we get to tomorrow or even Sunday, that could change. There could be some areas to where there could be severe weather. However, on day 5, this is on Tuesday the 26th, a massive area here for severe weather is expected. Look at this. Southeastern portions of Nebraska all the way down to Dallas, Fort Worth. Look at this massive, expansive area here for severe weather. We need to watch out for this as this continues to progress. We don't have a whole lot of information on the severe weather event yet. We'll probably have a little bit more information on Sunday or even Monday. So if you want to know more stuff about that event, I highly recommend tuning into the channel on those days. But if you do want to pay attention to the severe weather that's going to be happening on Sunday as well, feel free to stay tuned to the channel because that could be potentially happening as well. And even on day 6, this is the severe weather outlook for Wednesday. I have not talked to my New Orleans friends, my Mobile, Alabama friends, people around Jackson, Mississippi and stuff like that. I haven't talked to you guys a whole lot about severe weather in a whole while because we weren't expecting to have severe weather in a whole while. And now we do. We have severe weather that is anticipated over in these areas. So once again, it's one of those things where we really need to watch out for how this continues to progress. Guys need to be weather aware. Again, I most likely will be on here on the YouTube channel to try and cover this. Not sure about Sunday. Not sure if I will be live streaming on Sunday. Regardless, we have severe weather that is anticipated throughout much of the United States here, practically for the next week. So all the more reasons to stay weather aware. So now let's shift gears over to the weather models. Now we're going to be talking about Sunday mainly. We'll talk about Saturday a little bit, but Saturday and Sunday is going to be the days that I'll really talk about in depth. I'll breeze a little bit over Tuesday and Wednesday with a specific wind field, and I'll discuss as to why that's important at a later time in the video. But for right now, we're going to take a look at the simulated radar here on the NAM 3-kilometer model. And what this is going to do here is this is going to give us a general idea as to where the severe weather is actually going to exist. Now, if you want to take a look at the timings, they are right above me. You can see it. Friday, October 22nd, 2021, 8 a.m. This is in Eastern Daylight Time, so if you want to convert it to Central, you're going to have to subtract it by 1 hour, but only 1 hour. That is the good news there. So now let's take a look at it a bit. This is Friday morning into Saturday, which is what's happening right now. And you can see how thunderstorms begin to start to form along the border of Kansas and Oklahoma, as well as into portions of Missouri near Joplin and Springfield, sometime Friday night into Saturday morning. So if you guys get your scattered showers and thunderstorms, would not be surprised, because that is expected to be quite sporadic for the majority of the day here, majority of the morning, I should say, before it starts to move off and further on into the afternoon hours, where that will begin to disintegrate. A little bit of snow that is expected over here in the Rockies. You can see a lot of these blues over here, and that is your snow over there as well. So more and more snow is expected for places like Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana. Maybe a little bit of Utah and Colorado could get into the action, but for the most part, a little bit of snow for what's happening around that developing low pressure system. As it progresses into Saturday evening, you can see some showers and thunderstorms begin to start forming. And look at this, northeastern portions of Kansas near the Kansas City metro area as well, get some showers and thunderstorms that start to form. Even along this giant warm front here, this is a warm front that extends, because what happens is that when you have your low pressure system here, it spins counterclockwise and stuff like that. And so what happens is you have a lot of moisture that gets picked up by that spin. A lot of this wind picks up that moisture, brings it up, and it forms a little bit of a line. We call that a warm front when it goes from west to east. What a line typically does when it goes from south to north is that's a bit of a cold front, and we'll talk about that a little bit later for Sunday. But we have a little bit of a warm front action that's starting to occur here right around midnight for the Ozarks, heading into the Ohio River Valley and even places like Kansas. Now, moving on through, heading into Sunday morning, you can see stuff gets really wonky because you have a lot of scattered showers and thunderstorms. I mean, I can't really call out all of these states because there's a lot of them that is expecting to get scattered showers and thunderstorms. But what ends up happening here is that there is a developing line, according to the NAM, to where you could get a little bit of some prefrontal activity, some pre-showers and thunderstorms from the main show that'll begin to push off along the border of Kansas and Missouri, and that'll propagate further to the east-southeast, heading off towards the border of Arkansas and Missouri. And you can see how this kind of plays out. You can see you have one line that starts to form right here, and then you have another line that forms back over here, new developing line that starts to form in Kansas and Oklahoma, and that'll push on as well. So we got two waves of showers and thunderstorms that'll be pushing about, and we'll have more information as to what those showers and thunderstorms will actually look like, as to how, as well as how significant they will be in the coming days. Tomorrow will most likely be the big video to where I'll go fully in depth as to what everyone can see, as well as what the conditions are going to be like. But just based off of the simulated radar, it does look like there will be a couple of waves. And in my opinion, probably the wave to the rear will actually have the more significant impacts than the wave to the front. But we'll have to see in tomorrow's new guidance, because as models tend to get closer and closer to the event, it tends to get more and more accurate. Now, let's take a look over at the synopsis of this event, and we're going to take a look at the 500 millibar wind shear. Now, the 500 millibar wind shear is basically a specific level in the atmosphere. There's multiple levels in the atmosphere, but what we're looking at is the mid to upper level portions of the atmosphere, about 6 kilometers above ground level. Now, you can take a look at the bottom part of your screen, somewhere over there. You can see that you have a little bit of a scale, and it tells you the intensities of the wind depending upon the color. So the more vibrant the color, the stronger the wind is typically going to get. Now, this is all in knots, so if you want to convert it from knots to miles per hour, you can, but just know that the higher it is, the stronger it is. Now, we can take a look here, and you can see you have that massive low pressure system that I was talking about in the beginning of the video, and that's up in Canada. That's near Ontario, that's near the Hudson Bay, that's near places like Quebec, and that's creating a little bit of severe weather over here for the eastern coastline. But then you also have that bomb cyclone that I was talking about too. That's actually the satellite image all the way up above me. You can see it's impacting places like British Columbia and Yukon, as well as Alaska. Those areas up there getting that bomb cyclone. So that's what the satellite imagery is showing for you all right there, that whole counterclockwise spin. So that's creating a lot of strong wind shear here. And you already have that kind of arcing characteristic that I was talking about a little bit earlier as well. If we watch how this plays out, you can see how you still have that arcing characteristic right within here. Slight arcing right here, but you can still see it. And that will continue to move all the way through along into the central portions of the United States. And this is your developing low pressure system right here. You can see it starts to sharply arc right here. Very sharp here for the most part. And this is really going to fire off most of the severe weather here. You can see how as it really does start to take shape, the wind shear does increase around it as well. And then this will continue to propagate further and further and potentially even create some severe weather for portions of the eastern US as well. So that's the wind shear there from the 500 millibar perspective. It's relatively decent. It's moderate levels of wind shear for the most part throughout the event. Now, if we take a look at the moisture output here, this is the dew points for the most part. You can see what I was talking about with how the low pressure system kind of brings in this moisture. And I know this is relatively early in the morning on Friday, but you can see across the area that I was talking about for severe weather on Saturday and Sunday, dew points are expected to be in the 30s, 40s, maybe 50s in some spots if they're lucky. But for the most part here in the morning, not very moist to say the least. You typically want 60s or even 70s for severe weather. But you'll see here, as this progresses from Friday into Saturday, some moisture does get pulled up into portions of Kansas and Oklahoma. And looking into Saturday afternoon and the evening hours, look at how much moisture is here. Look at the moisture return here from the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of moisture in the Gulf of Mexico, all of that oranges and stuff, now has been pulled up into the central portions of the United States. And this is one big factor here for severe weather. You need your moisture to get showers and thunderstorms, and you do have that. So as this continues to progress, of course, on Saturday, you get your severe weather over there. But here's Sunday, and the couple things that I want to point out here is that now we have a little bit of a triple point action here. So you have your warm front that goes across. I talked about how you had your showers and thunderstorms that extend from left to right, from west to east. Now you have a bit of a boundary that is extending from north to south or south to north, maybe a little bit of a curling arc version of this right here, but it still extends further south. And this is a bit of a dry line setup or a bit of your cold front. And what happens here is this is where some showers and thunderstorms could also form, but the big golden area to watch out for the most, if you are looking out for the most significant showers and thunderstorms, would be right in between the two. So you have your warm front and then you have your cold front. Areas right within about here is what you would expect. Anywhere within all that rich moisture, all that rich dew points is where you could expect the significant severe weather to actually reside in. Now, of course, this is a little bit earlier in the day. This is about noon when when we're looking at this, and we know that the showers and thunderstorms won't actually start to form until a little bit later on in the day. And we'll go a little bit into detail of why that is tomorrow, but just know that there's a limiting factor in the atmosphere at the moment called capping inversion, for people who may know, that's preventing showers and thunderstorms from forming as early as they should. So it'll happen a little bit later on in the evening. But what happens here is that you can see as this progresses into the afternoon, evening, and then into the overnight hours, a lot of moisture starts to get exhausted here, and you have this massive line here that extends all the way down into Texas, and a big-time severe weather event could be possible with this. If you were to ask as to what I think is going to be the main threat as of right now, it would have to be the strong damaging winds and upwards of hurricane force. Would not be surprised if the tornado risk is closely behind in regards to the main priority risk out of all of that. Not expecting huge hail with this, but you could see some hail sizes and upwards of golf ball sized. Would not be surprised about that either. But just based off of how everything is shaping out to be at the moment, would not be surprised if that was your main risk. So that's on Sunday. I know I can't go past midnight on Sunday a whole lot, but that's just basically the general gist. And I mentioned before, I will have more information as to what Sunday could look like in tomorrow's video, so stay tuned for that. Turn on channel notifications for the latest updates. But let's go back to the 500 millibar wind shear here with the Euro model. And this is basically going to tell us where the next severe weather event is going to happen. So I told you all to look out for this arcing characteristic because there typically would be a low pressure system associated with it. Well, here you go. You have another one that appears to be a bit stronger than the previous one. And this is going to create your severe weather as well. This is going to push on through into the central and even southern portions of the United States and eventually move on down towards the deep south and the southeastern portions of the United States. So definitely something to watch out for that as well. And so if we play along here with this model, you can see massive low pressure system that moves on through here. And this is really going to be the beginning of how everything starts to kind of push on through. Now, this is Tuesday evening into Wednesday evening right here. You can see you have a lot of wind shear with this, but you also might have noticed you had a little bit of a system here that just pushed on into Mexico and moved on north. And there's a tropical system out in the Pacific at the moment that is starting to form and is expected to become a hurricane upon landfall in Mexico. Now, how this will impact this event, it most likely will make it a lot more of a strong damaging wind and tornado threat rather than a hail threat, but that would be in areas near where the remnants of this tropical system is. If you're a little bit further back towards the dry line that I would talk about normally, then that's where you could potentially see a little bit more of a hail threat balanced with that tornado and wind threat. But everywhere here in the remnants of this tropical system, that's where you guys could potentially see a damaging wind and tornado threat within your general vicinity. Heading into Wednesday, it does seem as if the low pressure system does become a lot more intense. That's the main thing here. The main concern is that on Wednesday, it is expected to intensify more and more. And so the severe weather could be stronger in areas that I called out for Wednesday. So we're going to have to watch out for how this low pressure system actually does develop if this model run does stay consistent. But as of right now, the models do tend to indicate that there will be something somewhere over in the areas indicated by the Storm Prediction Center. And if you live in those areas, you guys need to have a plan of action. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you do enjoy it, if you do enjoy my content, please be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay up to date with all the latest stuff that I provide. Also, leave a like on the video. Leave a like if you did enjoy it as well. And share this with friends and family and on social media. That would be greatly appreciated. Now, I am going to be uploading my podcast video later on tonight. So what's going to happen is that last week I uploaded episode 1 for my members only. This week I'm uploading episode 1 for everyone to watch. So if you want to watch that, feel free to do so. But then episode 2 will be uploaded at the same time. So for my members who watch my video, it will be uploaded later on tonight. So stay up to date with all that. Please turn on notifications. I'll keep you guys up to date with all of that. As I said, thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next video tomorrow. So peace out, everyone, and stay safe.